Almost Famous with John Shea. Featuring local and independent musicians from the South Shore, Boston, and New England. On 95.9 WATD.
Welcome to the Tiny Stage Hour of Almost Famous 95.9 WATD, introducing you to independent bands and musicians from across New England every Tuesday night, 8 to 10, brought to you by Tiny & Sons Glass. First of all, if you're a local musician with original music you'd like to hear on the radio, get in contact with me. All the information is up on the Almost Famous page at 959watd.com. While you're there, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Almost Famous Radio, and subscribe to our podcast at almostfamousradio.com. My name is John Shea. We're celebrating 10 years of Almost Famous this month, and we're being joined tonight on the tiny stage by Annie Brobst. Good evening. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having us back.
My pleasure. So those who may have missed your first few appearances here, give an introduction.
Sure. My name's Annie Brobst. I am born and raised from Columbus, Ohio, and I now reside on the North Shore in Massachusetts, and we're just here to make music.
Awesome. What brought you to Massachusetts?
Oh, gosh. I'll tell people to listen to my song Ghost, which was my very first song I ever put out there, and it tells the story.
Very cool. Go check it out. And if people want to check out your music, where's the best place to go?
Always go to the website, anniebrobst.com, but we're all over iTunes, Spotify, and more.
Awesome. So as we're slowly emerging from what's been a complete catastrophe of a year, we're getting back into music once again. What are you most excited about when it comes to live music?
I'm just excited to see our fans and friends face to face.
And you've got a couple of upcoming shows that you can promote.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of our house tour, the fourth installment. We did a bunch of these last summer, so we're super excited to visit all the rest of the neighborhoods. We travel around New England in neighborhoods on a mobile stage, so they can check out anniebrobst.com for all of that info. And on May 28th, we're doing a parking lot party up at Breakaway in Danvers, Mass.
Awesome. And I think by the time the show airs, it's your birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Very cool. And also another show coming up at Bridgewater Music Alley. And I believe that's happening on July 1st.
Yes,
that's going to be a fun show.
We're so excited about that. So thank you. You helped us put that whole thing together.
Oh, my pleasure. And also a new album that just recently dropped. Talk about that.
Yeah, we just released Her Holler. It actually peaked at number 2 on the iTunes country album charts, so we're thrilled.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. So yeah, check out all those songs. We're going to be doing a bunch here today, but we're just excited to have new music out there.
Awesome. And you brought some guests. Who's joining us in studio?
Yes, sir. I have Roger Hagopian coming from Lexington, Mass.
The legendary man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
How are you?
And Mr. Ryan DuPont, also coming from Danvers with me.
Awesome. And before we get too much further, Roger, you recently also released a solo single.
I did, yeah, last summer.
Cool. Give that a quick plug if you would.
So I have a single. It's called Never Said Anything, and I recorded it with Sean McLaughlin, same guy we recorded our album with, the Annie album. Yeah, he's our go-to guy.
He's the best.
Sounds good. And you brought a guest yourself.
Yes, I brought my girlfirld Carrie, who's here to
his better half.
If I break a pick, she's going to hand me to it.
Yes,
that's what I pay her for.
Well, let's start off with a song. Annie Brobst is joining us tonight. The Annie Brobst Trio. What are we listening to first tonight?
All right, we're going to kick off with "Ain't He the Worst."
All right, 95.9 WATD. We're live on the tiny stage.
Same old story, honey, don't be late. This 22 wants her home by 8. She's got a test tomorrow and her room's a mess. You hear me, boy? Yeah, she needs her rest. He cares about me and he shows it. He wants what's best for me, and I know it. Well, tough love is they love to keep you around. Ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? Ooh, ooh. rain all around. He knows hurricane and he is a category 5. He still looks at me with those ever-loving eyes. He cares about me and he shows it. He wants what's best for me and I know it. Well, tough lovers, they love to keep you around. But ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? But it wasn't enough, and it wasn't our time. So I dropped to my knees and I asked God why. Ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? He's got a funny way of showing it. He wants what's best for me, yeah, I know it. Tough lovers, they love to keep you around. But ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? Oh, ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst? Ain't he the worst?
Annie Brobst on the tiny stage tonight, 95.9 WATD. Talk about how that one was written.
Yeah, so that one, we kind of wanted each of the verses to represent someone different, and they're typically male figures in your life who just want the best for you, and sometimes it's annoying. It's your dad telling you to go to bed early, or it's your boyfriend telling you to put your laundry away, or but really, you say in your head, like, gosh, ain't he the worst, when they're really the best.
The line Hurricane Annie. Talk about that.
Well, if you've ever seen me, which you haven't, but if you want a mental picture of me getting ready for a gig, I go into my closet and try on about 10 different outfits and just leave them thrown about like a hurricane went in there. So it's pretty accurate.
The new album that's out, Where We Holler. Talk about how that album happened, the writing process and the songs that made that album.
Yeah, it's our new wave of writing, and I think each album or each collection we're putting out there is really what we feel is our best at the time. It's a whole collection of different tunes, again, stories from my life and people I know or my own experiences. And we just wanted to cover the spectrum again, but it was really important to us this time to gear more towards some of those traditional country sounds and styles, as opposed to all the pop country that we love. But we wanted this one to really be a country album.
This is album number 3 for you?
Yeah, if you count the first EP. So we got an EP. My First Rodeo was my first full album, and then Where We Holler.
Very cool. And I think the first album, was that Ghost?
Yeah, that's the
I think
Ghost
that's when you first came here.
Yeah, we've come back seemingly each time we've had a good release, so we appreciate that.
So what did you learn from making the EP and My First Rodeo that made recording this album easier?
General techniques and things in the studio. Sean and I seem to have a rhythm now. Sean's our producer at 37 Foot Productions. He really knows how to pull it out of me vocally, but also I think we're coming in now with more of a vision of how we'd like these songs to come out as a full product. When we came in first with the EP, and sometimes we just come in with acoustic tracks, and so I think we're getting a better idea of what we want that big picture to look like.
How many songs did you approach the project with, and how many made the final cut?
I think we came in with this one maybe not too many, maybe 13 or 14 songs, and narrowed it down to 10. But we had a pretty good idea. We test our songs out on our audience. You know, we had been playing a bunch of these live for a while before the pandemic, and so we kind of stick with the ones that go over well and
Very
resonate.
cool. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, how do you work out the arrangements with the band once you have a song idea?
Yeah, it's worked a variety of ways, and guys, feel free to chime in here. I think sometimes we have the full vision and we want these drums here and these guitars here. And then sometimes we just bring the acoustic tracks to the band too and say, okay, what do you guys think? Or go with what feels natural. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the band, we've got two people here. Who's missing?
We're missing Phil Sika on drums and Louis Spagnola on the bass. So we love playing with them. But they'll be there on May 28th, and they'll be there on July 1st in Bridgewater.
Awesome. Very cool. So this new album, it's getting some great feedback. For people that are listening to this album as a first-time listener to Annie Brobst, and also for your longtime fans, what do you want people to take away from this new album?
Ooh, that's a good question, John Shea. I think I want people to know that we're genuine and authentic in telling our stories, and that these guys, you know, put together some really good melodies and hooks and things like that. So I just want them to know who we are as songwriters and a little bit of look at who we are as people with the lyrics.
That's great. Annie Brobst is joining us tonight on the tiny stage, 95.9 WATD. Let's do another song. What are we listening to next?
Okay, the next one we're going to do is our tribute to a lot of the classic country artists that have inspired my journey along the way. This one is Amazing Grace.
All right, 95.9 WATD. We have Annie Brobst joining us tonight on the tiny stage.
Tim told a story about Johnny. And Johnny, he sang about June. And who could forget about Dolly, who promised she'll always love you? Well, and Loretta knew a thing about a coal mine and family traditions, Hank's thing. So thank records for Faith, Reba, Shania, and Martina, and all of the greats who taught me to sing. 'Cause we once were lost, but they paved our way. And where would we be without Amazing Grace? Well, remember when Daddy let us drive that old Ford, back when the King was just a young troubadour, and Alabama tells a tale about old Dixieland. And Tammy Wynette, she said, stand by your man. Amazing grace, the melodies they made will carry them to our grave. We once were lost, but they paved our way. And where would we be without Amazing Grace? Well, now my uncle's an angel who loved John Prine and taught me to live like I'm dying. The best song I ever heard, the best lesson I ever learned was always and forever be humble and kind. Amazing grace, the melodies they made will carry them to our grave. We once were lost, but they paved our way. And where would we be without amazing grace? And where would we be without amazing grace?
Annie Brobst on the tiny stage, 95.9 WATD. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Talk about how that one was written. I know you touched upon that just before you started playing, but elaborate a little bit more on the composition process.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that day Ryan and I just sat down and wrote a list of country artists that I love, and then we wrote some of their hit songs, next to them. And then we tried to see what we could put together in verse lines to make them rhyme or just, fit with the syncopation and the beat. So it was kind of fun to put together.
So speaking of which, you're a fan, obviously, of classic country, but you also have your own particular fan base you call the Annie Brobst Band Army. Talk about that.
The ABB Army. They are like no other for sure. That term was actually coined by Ryan when he kind of first joined our band. He said, okay, so you have basically like an army that follows you guys around. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're amazing. So that's kind of where it was born, and that was many years ago. But they're pretty fantastic.
And they have their own spot on your website.
They do. People can join my VIP, which is like a subgroup of that. But yeah, I like to give them as much love as I possibly can.
Now, talk about your fan base throughout the last year, because it hasn't been easy to not only keep a band together and release new music, but also keep your fan base.
Yeah, especially at the beginning, we just weren't sure what we were going to do to stay connected. That's how the house tour was born, actually. The first house tour, Ryan and I decided to do a show or live stream show from every room in our house. And so we were in the basement, in the bathroom, in the closet, and the kitchen. And our fans just went crazy for it. They were so great. They watched every single one. They were engaging. They were tipping virtually, Venmo and PayPal and such. And it was just so awesome. So we just kind of took that and ran with it. We did 2 more installments. We moved outdoors with it, kept live streaming. So really, they've pulled us through every step of the way here.
Annie Brobst joining us tonight on the tiny stage. This is 95.9 WATD. My name is John Shea. This is Almost Famous, and we are up against our first break of the night. We have a lot more music to share and more things to talk about with Annie Brobst on the tiny stage right here on 95.9 WATD, so stick around.
And now, back to Almost Famous on 95.9 WATD.
Welcome back to the tiny stage hour of Almost Famous 95.9 WATD. My name is John Shea. We introduce you to independent bands and musicians every Tuesday night, 8 to 10, brought to you by Tiny & Sons Glass. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram tonight at Almost Famous Radio, and subscribe to our podcast at almostfamousradio.com. And we're being joined tonight on the tiny stage by Annie Brobst. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for making this work.
Oh, gosh. Always. We love this.
Oh, thank you. We love you, too. So for those who missed the first part of the show, introduce yourself again.
Sure. I'm Annie Brobst, Ohio-raised, Boston-based, or North Shore to be more specific. And we're here. We're here to play music and get out and about and get ready to play some live shows this year.
What do you like better, the North Shore or the South Shore?
Oh, I'm not going to answer that question on here, John Shea. South Shore, of course.
Of course. We have better pizza. You have better roast beef.
Okay, deal.
Cool. And promote your website and social media pages.
Sure. AnnieBrobst.com to find everything you need. My social media, I'm really active on Facebook, Instagram. I recently got a TikTok. Come check me out on all of those.
Are you doing any sea shanties?
No, I don't know what that is. What is that?
You haven't heard that? It was like the big thing on TikTok like a month or two ago.
I feel like I'm out of the loop. How could that be? That's crazy. I'm going to have to look it up.
And a new album that just dropped recently. Talk about that.
Yes, we just dropped Where We Holler, a full album, 10 songs. It's on iTunes, Spotify. You can ask your Alexa to play it. It's so cool. And it peaked on during release week at number 2 on the iTunes country album chart, right under Carrie Underwood.
Should we have some fun right now?
Yeah.
Alexa, volume 10. Alexa, play Annie Brobst, Where We Holler.
Yes.
Let's see what
Everybody's homes just went crazy.
But I can tell you're from the Midwest by the way you say holler.
Holler, I know, instead of holla.
Yeah, you pronounce your R's, which is unusual for this part of the country. And we're missing some people from the band tonight. Who are we missing?
We are. Big shout out to our drummer Phil and our bassist Lou. We will see them very soon at full band live shows coming up.
And we have 2 people from the band in studio tonight.
We sure do. Mr. Roger Hagopian and Ryan DuPont on acoustic guitars.
Cool. We'll give people a few moments to reset their Alexas. And a show coming up with Bridgewater Music Alley that's happening on July 1st, which is a great nonprofit here on the South Shore who are dedicated to bringing great music to this part of the South Shore. And also, they're committed to the musician side. They want to make sure the musicians are paid properly for their work. So BridgewaterMusicAlley.com is their website. And you're going to be there on July 1st. And also, you've got a house show coming up later on this month.
Yeah, we have the whole month we're doing our House Tour 4 on our mobile stage around neighborhoods. And a bunch of those shows are public. You can bring your chairs, come up with your cooler and hang out with us. Bring your masks, of course. And then at the end of the month, May 28th, we're doing a parking lot party at Breakaway in Danvers. So
Cool.
We're really excited.
And I think by the time the show airs, we mentioned this earlier, today's your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Another year.
I know.
21.
Another trip around the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's do another song. What are we listening to next?
All right. So our next one is, it was the single, that we released off this new batch. So this one is Jealous.
Annie Brobst, 95.9 WATD.
You get home from a long day of working like you do. I jump up off that couch. The only thing I wanted was you. I felt safe, I felt loved, I was happy about us, not a care in the world. We had laughter, we're what they're all after, but now I'm jealous of that girl. That girl that I was and that girl that I loved. That girl that took all that I had. I don't know where she went, but I know where she ain't. Things just ain't as great as they tell us. So I'm just jealous. I'm jealous of that girl. We go out to a bar, no one but us. Get completely consumed with no one else in the room. Now I'm jealous of that girl. That girl that I was and that girl that I loved. That girl that took all that I had. I don't know where she went, but I know where she ain't. Things just ain't as great as they tell us. So I'm just jealous. I'm jealous of that girl. See, jealousy's a funny thing when I'm jealous of me. I give back all this hurt, give back all these tears, just to get back to my happier years. That girl that I was and that girl that I loved. That girl that took all that I had. I don't know where she went, I sure know where she ain't. Things just ain't as great as they tell us. To that she ain't. Things just ain't as great as they tell us. So I'm just jealous. I'm jealous of that girl. Yeah, I'm just jealous. So jealous of that girl.
Andy Brobst, 95.9 WATD. Talk about how you wrote that one.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of throw our listeners for a loop. You know, when you hear jealous, you think certain things, and we kind of wanted it to be the jealousy that you didn't expect, the jealousy of your past self. So that's where that one came from.
Awesome. And that's on the new album.
That's track number 1. That's the first song you get smacked with in the face.
Making that album, going into that, you took a unique approach and had some of the songs sponsored. Talk about how that happened.
Yeah, you know, over the years, we have amazing fans. We've talked about the ABB Army, and so many of them have reached out and wondered how can they help? How can they be part of our journey a little bit more? And so we've offered song sponsorships where they really cover those production costs and our recording costs for us. And they pick the song, they handpick it. Sometimes I'll send them, you know, preliminary mixes, and they see how the song is built, and they really feel part of it. And for whatever reason, when they choose a song, you know, they just have a personal connection, and it lives on forever. We are connected with that song. So,
what was the initial response from your base when you first presented that idea?
They seemed really excited about it. You know, when I first started, it was just approaching some of our really close friends and fans to see if they'd be interested, and they jumped all over it. And so then we started to put it out there to the public as well. And
I heard a pretty large company decided to sponsor a track as well.
Yeah, it seemed really timely. We had our album coming out right around the same time that Mike's Hard Lemonade was going to release their brand new line of seltzers. And so they wanted to team up and really put some advertising behind our album, and the song Make Lemonade in particular seemed like a pretty perfect fit. So we were so thankful to be paired up with them.
That's very cool. And we're going to be hearing that song tonight, I understand.
You are. It's next on our list, actually.
Oh, cool. Let's hear it, and then we'll talk a little bit more. We have Andy Brobst on the tiny stage, 95.9 WATD. It's all yours.
Here's Make Lemonade.
Mary saved up her whole life's pay to open up her dream cafe. From when she woke up till the sun went down, she fueled up that whole damn town. Well, time flew by and she slowed down. Half-empty seats was her new lunch crowd, and money was short and time was tight. So she called her daddy for a little advice, and he said, when you get lonely, make a friend. When you do wrong, make amends. When you lose hope, make a call. Make sure you know you can't win them all. Roll up your sleeves and make them see this world's made up of you and me. When you get stuck, make a change. When you got no choice, make lemonade. Well, Mary left work one Sunday night. She turned on the car and started to drive. She locked the door but left the burner on. Come Monday morn, her cafe was gone. When your whole world stops, just make it turn. A little love will help you learn that what grows up from broken ground is always stronger than what burned down. Roll up your sleeves and make them see This world's made up of you and me. When you get stuck, make a change. And when you got no choice, make lemonade. She built her dreams in that little town, and they couldn't dream of not having her around. In all her years, it never did occur quite how much they really needed her. You should have seen Mary smile that day when they rebuilt that little cafe. When you get lonely, make a friend. When you do wrong, make amends. When you lose hope, make a call. Make sure you know you can't win them all. Roll up your sleeves and make them see this world's made up of you and me. When you get stuck, make a change. When you got no choice, make lemonade. Make lemonade.
Annie Brobst on the tiny stage, 95.9 WATD. Nice job.
Thank you.
So I want to ask about influences, and I'm going to ask the whole band this, but I'll start with you. Who did you grow up listening to? Who are you listening to today?
Yeah, well, like Amazing Greats says, I learned country and really loved listening to those 90s greats. You know, you've got Shania, Martina, Reba, and Faith Hill in there. So those are definitely influences of mine. I loved the pop ladies, Britney, Christina, Mariah, Whitney, all of those. So maybe you'll hear a little bit of that in my voice.
Ryan, how about you?
I've always been kind of a bit of a guitar nerd, so I always liked guitar-heavy music. Obviously, as a kid, a lot of classic rock and rock stuff, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, and all that. And then I started just to kind of like the whole guitar superhero type people. And then just kind of fell in love with country over the last several years because of it's really one of the only genres where there is some good musicianship happening live and in the studio with real actual instruments, you know, so it's all sorts of stuff.
Very true. And Roger, how about you?
I'm all over the place. I guess more of a rock guy. I loved the Beatles growing up. Loved like the 90s pop punk stuff. And I don't know when I discovered country. I think it was when Rascal Flatts came out, and I was like, for some reason, something about the songs that they wrote, I was like, oh, this reminds me of me. I could do this.
When country acts come to Xfinity, we tend to be on a bunch of those shows on side stages and such, and we can only be duo. And so I have to choose which one of these guys I'm going to bring. And there was one of the list that Roger was like, just take me for the Rascal Flatts show. I just love Rascal Flatts. So he was like, they were the ones that introduced me to country. So he loves those guys.
I need to ask, too. I'll do the same thing. I'll go across the band here. Your guilty pleasure song, the song that nobody knows you listen to.
Oh, gosh.
That you wouldn't tell anybody until right now.
You're starting with me. I don't feel like I have any that are too egregious, that are too crazy. Ryan might be able to disagree with me.
For you?
Oh, I really like to sing Christina Aguilera in Spanish.
Yeah, she does that a lot.
I can speak fluent Spanish, so it's very fun for me to try to sing it. And she's got a bunch of songs off of her early albums she did in Spanish as well. So that's what I got.
Roger, what do you got?
Probably the most embarrassing song that I can play perfectly on guitar is "This I Promise You" by NSYNC.
Well, you were singing The Little Mermaid before we went on air today.
I'm not guilty of that pleasure, though.
Right, he's not ashamed of that one.
I'm an open Disney nerd, but yeah. NSYNC, I try to,
yes.
Yeah.
I like that song, too.
I think mine is Jordan Sparks' "Nowhere."
Oh, yeah. That's an immediate Alexa request when we are having some wine and it's the end of the night. He's like, Alexa, play Jordan Sparks.
Listen, that's when the night starts.
One of my new favorite questions to ask is, if you could wipe one song off the face of the earth, what would it be?
You know what song I always think of is that Friday, Friday, Friday. Remember that?
Yeah.
You know, as much as I look forward to Fridays, I feel like that's the one song that could make you hate a Friday.
Yeah.
So that's my one.
Probably, and I would walk 500 miles.
love that song. What?
You know why? Because I've been working at a grocery store for the past decade, and that song plays every hour on the hour.
That I can see how that could be.
And it cuts right through my soul.
You don't just go marching down the aisle
No, I put in the earmuffs.
Oh man, I don't know what to pick. I'm just gonna pick an Annie Brobst song.
Hey, you're fine.
Somebody not that long ago.
I'll second Rogers. Actually, I'll second that to make sure it goes down in flames.
So far, people have mentioned the Cars for Kids jingle.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Baby Sharks song.
Oh,
Yes,
why did that
please.
even happen? What is? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Annie Brobst is joining us tonight, and give your website again if you would.
Sure. AnnieBrobst.com. You can also use AnnieBrobstMusic.com. They all go to the same place. So visit it. Check it out.
Awesome. And the new album that just dropped.
Where We Holler. And you can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and basically just all those major streaming platforms.
Awesome. Let's keep on rolling with the music. What are we listening to next?
Okay, this next one is the first single we released off the album before the album was even coming together. So this is called Little Girl Dreams.
All right. Annie Brobst, 95.9 WATD. It's all yours.
Little girl dreams in a big girl world. What she only sees in ribbons and curls. And people talk a little sweeter, and they're dying to believe her. It's a strong woman's world in the mind of a girl. Ooh, what I wanna give to go back to the state of mind when I was a kid. I wanna go back to the day walking home on the bridge, throwing rocks off the edge and making a wish. Ooh, that world in the mind of a girl. Girl, yeah. You're learning it stings when you fall and get hurt. Your hopes and dreams take a lot more work. People treat you a little different. Say it's fine when it really isn't. It's a real woman's world in the mind of a girl, yeah. Ooh, what I wanna give to go back to the state of mind when I was a kid. I wanna go back to the day when you needed a friend. You'd be looking for one and you wanna pretend. Ooh, that world in the mind of a girl. Looking back, so we ever do, yeah. Looking back just to help us through it. To go back when Grandma was still around. She was always waiting for us, sitting there on the front porch. And what I wouldn't give for just a little more time. Ooh, what I wouldn't give to go back to the state of mind when I was a kid. I wanna go back to the day walking home on the bridge, throwing rocks off the edge and making a wish. Ooh, that world in the mind of a girl. In the mind of a girl. Those little girl dreams. Ooh, that world. Ooh, that world in the mind of a girl.
Annie Brobst, 95.9 WATD on the tiny stage. This is Almost Famous, and talk about how that one happened.
Little Girl Dreams. The three of us wrote that one, actually. You know, Ryan has two little 9-year-old girls, and we definitely have a lot of, younger kids coming out and seeing us with their families sometimes. And we just wanted to have a little song that's inspired by those young women and encouraging them to stay strong, but also to look back on my own childhood as a little girl, and just remember how it felt so simple and happy, and not that life isn't now, but you've got all those adult stressors, so it's really just a nostalgic song.
Something about you that I love is that for as long as I've been following you guys and seeing you guys live is you do the late night shows that go till 1 o'clock in the morning, but you also do a lot of shows that cater to families too.
We do, and at the beginning of 2020, before we even knew the pandemic was going to happen, we really wanted to do less of those bar shows because we wanted to play our original music and have ticketed audiences and just start to grow in that way. And so we have a lot more opportunities for families to come out and see. We have theaters and fairs and festivals and things that are all family friendly.
And a couple of dates that are coming up soon.
Yeah, so the Bridgewater Music Alley is family friendly. We've got some concert series happening that I haven't even announced yet coming in June. And then we have our parking lot party at Breakaway on May 28th. So there's plenty of opportunities, and all of those house tour shows this month are definitely family friendly. We're going to people's neighborhoods, so bring up a blanket and some chairs and join us.
Where's the best place to go to stay up to date with those upcoming dates?
Sure. So you can find those on my website. We have the whole calendar of the house tour shows, and everything is there under the tab that just says tickets or shows. And people can also find that on Facebook. I'll plug the heck out of it and just kind of remind people as they approach.
Excellent. Annie Brobst joining us tonight on the tiny stage. 95.9 WATD. I think we have one more song left. Does that work for you?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's coming up right after this. Stick around.
Almost Famous with John Shea on 95.9 WATD.
For the final time tonight, welcome back to the Tiny Stage Hour here on Almost Famous, 95.9 WATD, introducing you to independent bands and musicians from across New England, brought to you by Tiny & Sons Glass. My name is John Shea. We're being joined tonight on the Tiny Stage by the birthday girl, Annie Brobst. How you doing?
Thank you again for having us. I'm doing great.
My pleasure. So plug your website and your social media pages again.
Okay, AnnieBrobst.com to find everything you need to know. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and find our music on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. Ask your Alexas and your Googles at home to play it. You can find us anywhere.
Awesome. And a couple of upcoming show dates that are on the books.
Sure.
Talk about those.
May 28th, we're at Breakaway for a big full band parking lot party. It's kind of our first chance to bring the full band out in front of people this year. And then July 1st for Bridgewater Music Alley concert series. Thanks to you, Mr. John Shea, for putting us in touch with them. And then they can stick to my calendar. We're right in the middle of the house tour too. So come join us in neighborhoods around New England.
So it's been a few years since you were here last, and something that's kind of really come to light publicly since the last time you were here is the lack of female artists being played on country music radio. And I'm interested to hear your take on that.
Yeah. It is that way. And I still listen to the radio and I hear it. But I do think, I think there's a lot more of that coming to light now, that people of color, everything. And I think country music is making a good effort to really try to do better. And I'm excited about that. So, don't count them out. I think country music wants to make another name for themselves, and they're doing it. So,
what are some ways that people outside of the music industry can help spread that message about female artists?
I mean, it's so hard, and it's so hard. Who's listening? Who do we know? So I think just the best you can do is continue to support female artists as much as you can. Share their music and go to their concerts, buy their tickets. I think that's the best thing you can possibly do as a fan. But if you have any of those connections to higher ups, use them and just really hammer that because and persistence is key.
Absolutely. Annie Brobst, thank you again for joining us tonight, and Roger and Ryan too for being here on the tiny stage. What are we closing out the night with?
We're closing out the night with the party song inspired by last year's mobile stage tours. And, we're excited to get out there and play it this year in front of people as well. We released this on New Year's Eve. This is called Holler and Swallow.
All right. Thank you again. Get home safely, and good luck with the upcoming shows, and happy birthday. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, John. We love it here. Thanks.
All right. It's all yours. 95.9 WATD.
Okay.
Around here we do a thing called a holler and swallow, where we drink a little more and we stay a little longer. Piss off all our neighbors and we have a good time in a place where we can be anything we want to be. It's the home of the brave and the land of the free. Where Johnny's throwing shots and Tyler's making toast, Corey's shooting beers with the ones we love the most, Hogan's out back talking slow and thinking hard, a place where we can be anything we want to be. It's America the beautiful, from sea to shining sea, where we holler, holler, it's water, and then we pick our friends up, smoke a little stuff, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. We holler, holler, it's water. Well, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. Being here with you is the place we want to be. Where it's bring your own chair and bring your own beer. Everybody over there knows everybody here. Dogs, kids, and scooters, and a couple cop cars, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. God bless America and shed His grace on thee. Where we holler, holler, it's water, and then we pick our plans up, smoke a little stuff, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. We holler, holler, it's water. Well, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. Being here with you is the place we want to be. And what will we do without you? Yeah. What will we do without you? No. What will we do without you? What will we do without you? Yeah. Well, we'd still holler, holler, it's water. Yeah. We'd still holler, holler, it's water. Come on now. Oh, we'd still holler, holler, it's water. And then we'd pick our friends up, smoke a little stuff, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. We holler, holler, it's water. Well, in a place where we can be anything we want to be. Being here with you is the place we want to be. It's America the beautiful, from sea to shining sea. God bless America and shed His grace on me. It's the home of the brave and the land of the free. Let's holler and swallow.